Right guys, so before we even start talking on this subject, what I want to firstly clarify is that I am not making this video to target anyone. I just simply wanted to voice my opinion on the matter. And let's get to it. So I recently got done watching two videos from a former YouTube sensation known as Fousey. Now, Fousey, like myself and many of you, he was a young man who suffered with hair loss in his early stage of his life, and he made the bold decision to, well, go bald and shave his head. Now there's one video that he did on his channel quite a while back. He basically did a social experiment where he wanted to test whether or not having a shaved head has much of an effect in terms of your success on a first date. So what he did was he left all the pictures that he had when he had hair on his dating profiles. He was setting dates up and then he'd go on the date not telling them that he now had a shaved head. During the date, he'd be wearing a hat, a snapback to hide the fact that he had shaved his head. Then halfway through the date, he would take it off to gauge the girl's reaction. And this was a very ballsy move. I praise and I commend him for this. And naturally, some of the girls loved it, some of the girls hated it. That's just life. And it was a very important message as well. The message I took away from it was a very inspirational one. It showed that, just because you go through this transition in terms of your appearance, it doesn't mean that hope is over in terms of your dating life, which is a major fear for a lot of guys when it comes to shaving the head or embracing hair loss. And I don't know what happened, but it seems somewhere down the line, Fousey, maybe the insecurity got to him, but things seem to have gone down south, because the other day I saw a video entitled "I got a hair tattoo and I regret it." Instantly my mind was thinking, what the hell has this guy done? And in the video, he's talking about, the various surgeries and procedures he has gone in an attempt to get his hair back or in an attempt to get his hairline fixed up. It seems that the pressure of having a bald head at such an early age in his life, such an early stage in his life, caused insecurities within him, which I can understand. I have personally been in that boat of insecurity, and I'm sure many of you are setting sail in it right now as we speak. Because the thing is, when it comes to change, you're always going to hate change before you learn to adapt to it and start loving the change. There's always going to be that period of time where you're hating what you're going through in terms of changes. So in the video, he discusses the methods he tried, the procedures he tried, and then he discussed that he went on to get a surgery known as micro-scalp pigmentation, if I'm correct. And this is where you basically restore the hairline. You could have like a shaved head, but it gives you the appearance that you have a nice lineup, basically. And the reason he said he did this was to further advance his career. He mentioned it was also for movie roles, because he didn't just want to be casted as the bald guy in every video, whatever that means. Now, to go a little more into micro-scalp pigmentation, they basically use a ink. It's almost like they're tattooing your head, but obviously the ink has been made specially for your head, for a human head, and they give you the illusion of having a hairline, even though you don't. And I can say that looking at his, he really had a good one done. It can be assumed he paid a lot for this. And you know what, from the photos he shared, it seemed to really suit him. It looked great, and it definitely seemed to have benefited him. The only thing is, considering that he went through this and he went through so many other hair procedures to try and get his hair back, you would assume that this would be the end of the line and that he would feel content with himself. However, he then discusses how he went on to get another procedure done, and this is where alarm bells were going off in my head. This time he said he got a procedure done by a complete stranger of a woman that he met at his local facial grooming salon. Now, the woman apparently noticed the fact that he had the procedure done. She managed to spot it, and she said she can improve upon it for him. And without doing any research on this woman, it is the crazy thing, he did no research. He decided to book an appointment with her and went to see her. And the woman basically ended up, I might attach photos, but the woman basically ended up darkening the hell out of his hairline to the point where it literally looked like someone took a bucket of paint, poured it onto his head, froze it in. It didn't look natural. It literally looked like someone took a paintbrush and smeared paint all over his head. And this is what is crazy about it. This woman, this unqualified woman, actually used real tattoo ink, not the micro-scalp pigmentation ink, genuine tattoo ink on his head to get him this better look. Now, I feel for the guy, I really do. For a man who is already insecure in regards to losing his hair, to then have a permanent tattoo of fake hair on your head. Now, I can only imagine how horrible that must have felt. Now, in the next video, he then goes on to having the tattoo removed. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, it looked like a painful procedure. Now, let me get to the point. The whole reason I'm actually making and talking about this, why I'm highlighting this situation. The reason I'm making this video is to remind you guys that there has to be a limit. Now, we all have insecurities, but we need to know when we draw the line on those insecurities, where we draw the line. There has to be a point where we realize that none of us will ever be perfect. None of us will ever be perfect, and we're not meant to be perfect. And the only way to truly do that, the only way to truly be secure with yourself is to accept yourself as you are. Now, Fousey, he went through some genuine extremes to conquer his insecurity. And when you think about it, it was all to tackle an issue as small as losing your hair. And the reason that it is such an extreme measure is because he actually got his hairline back, but he still felt the need to do more about it. You see, when he got that microscale pigmentation done by the professional, he could have chose to call it quits right there. But the fact that insecurity was able to drive him into listening to this unqualified woman, it truly shows and demonstrates how much of a monster our insecurities can be when we don't take control of them. I've mentioned in the past that we live in the age where everyone expects and promotes perfection. Now, just one look on social media and you can see that everyone is out to portray perfection. Everyone is trying to be perfect. From our lifestyles to our looks. Everyone is in this rat race of being a flawless person. Now, every time you look on Instagram, everyone's life looks so perfect compared to yours. And that is another issue. We compare ourselves way too damn much to what other people are doing or other people in general. We are too busy comparing ourselves to what the next man has, instead of rocking what we got and learning to make the most perfect of a situation out of that. And I truly believe that this is one of the reasons that people go to such extreme measures to tackle what they see in their mind as flaws. But if I can pass anything on to you today, then just please know this. Your insecurities are made stronger off of every doubt that you choose to feed yourself. And the problem with us is that we praise ourselves last and criticize ourselves first. It's human nature, and I'm pretty sure that everyone watching has been guilty of that at some point in their lives. And it is for that reason that I believe that self-acceptance is truly the first step, especially when it comes to an issue as strong as hair loss. Now, the method that you choose to conquer your insecurity is irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether you shave your head, whether you choose to keep what you got, or whether you choose to get a transplant. That is irrelevant. Because all of that is pointless if you cannot look at yourself in the mirror and feel content for what you are from within, for who you are from within. Now, the way I see it, you could be a man who gets the most perfect professional hair transplant known to the gods done. I'm talking perfect results. But if that man is someone who always allows doubt to creep into his mind, it will not make a shred of difference to his character, to his life. Because you see, a man with a mind full of doubt, he will always find the reason to be insecure before he finds the reason to be grateful, to be content. And that is what it boils down to. Looking at yourself with a praise of self-acceptance every day. Looking at yourself with a praise of self-acceptance and dropping that spoon that you have been feeding your doubts with for far too long. Looking at your insecurity and embracing it in whichever way you choose. Looking back at how you conquered it, not only with a sense of gratitude, but a sense of growth, and most importantly, a sense of content. Thank you.